right, so let me ask you this. We have a lot of newbies that listen to us, like follow the podcast and listen to us. So, and I think a lot of newbies, we get a lot of feedback from the podcast. A lot of newbies too, or techs, whether they're new or not, are isolated. They're not in a studio with the camaraderie and support of other artists. They're not in a town where there's other artists, or if there are other artists, they don't share their knowledge. It's competitive, and they just don't have support. So we do have a lot of newbies and artists that are a little isolated, follow us and listen to us, and they love this podcast, right? So 3 years in, your first 3 years up to say, what have been your 3 biggest challenges? And it can be either with your brow work, clients, client management, whatever. What were the 3 biggest challenges you've had to overcome so far?
I think the first one for sure was like the aspect of, doing like my first couple of eyebrows, and like the anxiety that I would get like at the beginning of, okay, I have to do the consultation, like I'm gonna be working on like real skin, right? So I think that was like the first one.
So anxiety?
The anxiety, yeah, of doing something new and like taking in the first couple of clients. That was like.
So let me ask you this, Sophia. So so when you trained and first learned, were you in a long apprenticeship, or were you in was it a 5-day class? And don't be ashamed, because I think most of the industry right now, they're either learning and getting licensed, 2-day class, 3-day class, 5-day class, because that's what's out there. There's not a lot of 6-month apprenticeships like we offer here.
Yeah, no.
So what was your initial training to get licensed?
So my initial training, it was first, so it all started with a microblading class.
Okay.
While I was in cosmetology school.
Okay, gotcha. So it was a part of your cosmetology program?
No, so what happened, it was that I was in cosmetology school and I wanted to get my brows done. So I asked one of my teachers, like, do you know a good microblading artist here in Vegas? And she gave me the name of a girl, and I was like, oh, cool. So I went on Instagram, and that was the first time that I ever saw a page filled with before and afters and all that. So I was like, wow, this is beautiful. How can people do something, this cool?
Right.
So I didn't even end up getting my brows done. I was like, I want to learn how to do this. So that's how everything started.
Okay.
And then in cosmetology school, I thought maybe with my license, I can do permanent makeup.
Right.
And then I asked my teacher, and she was like, no, you need another license. It's a different, process, right?
Yep.
So after, while I was in cosmetology school, I went and took a 3-day microblading class.
Okay.
But because I was still in cosmetology school, I didn't do my apprenticeship or anything like that right away. So it was until I was over.
Was this in Mexico City?
No, here in Vegas.
Oh, here in Vegas.
So here in Vegas.
So you got your microblading, but then to get licensed in Vegas, you have to do a 6-month apprenticeship, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ended up doing that with someone here in Vegas.
Someone here in Vegas. So all of that happened here in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you did your 6-month apprenticeship, did you stay at that studio? So your first few clients, your mentor was there on site for you to pick her brain, help you with pigment selection or technique, or was once your 6 months were over, boom, you were on your own?
So what happened is that while I was on my apprenticeship, 6-month apprenticeship, the owner of the studio invited me to stay as an artist there.
Okay.
Okay. So I ended up staying there. But during the 6 months, I feel like I didn't get enough practice or anything like that.
Yep.
So I was not ready, to take clients or anything, or models. I didn't feel like I was ready, right?
Right. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
But, and think about this. We do 6-month apprenticeships here. And in the PMU industry, if you say 6-month apprenticeship, they think that's long and fantastic, and that's plenty of time to learn eyebrows, eyeliner, and lips,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and really, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's
Yeah,
not.
no.
In body tattooing, apprenticeships are at least a year, if
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
year to 2 years long.
Yeah.
They're much longer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so, you know, for that reason, you know, our 6 month programs, you know, at the end of their 6 months, once they're licensed, um, they're welcome to stay and see
Mm-hmm.
their clients here, and
Mm-hmm.
to still have artists on site, you know, to
Mm-hmm.
pop in and help them with pigment selection, or, you know, any struggles they have. Because
Yeah.
I still think beyond the 6 month apprenticeship, young artists still need that support,
Yes, for sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And always, I think, right, throughout your career, like having someone in the industry, like a group, like a support system
Oh,
in the industry,
yeah.
like always someone, like a
Yeah.
colleague or someone that you can like
Yeah.
call or ask
Yeah,
for.
I think that's important,
Mm-hmm.
to have that, to have a good, you know, some good PMU colleagues that I
Mm-hmm.
do. I have my whole career. I've been lucky. I've had a good group of PMU artists around me that, you know, in other states that, you know, are like Mary Richardson and, you know, Margie Grimm, you know, for many, many years. And just lots of really super talented artists
Yes.
that, yeah, I mean, we can call each other anytime and talk about a challenge or get opinions or anything like that. And I think it's important. And a lot of artists
Mm-hmm.
just don't have that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anxiety.
Oh yeah, the
So anxiety,
anxiety.
that was your number one struggle.
Uh-huh.
So how did you get over the anxiety? Was it just, you know, brow after brow after brow, just in time, the anxiety just kind of subsided? Because I think everybody has
Yeah,
kind of
like the
anxiety.
initial, yeah, anxiety. It was that, and also like thinking, I'm never gonna be fully prepared until I do this on like
Right.
someone, right? So I've had training, like I've been practicing, so I just have to like
You have
do
to
it.
jump in there and do it. I
Yeah.
think sometimes we get in our own
Mm-hmm.
head, right? We
Yeah.
get in our own
It's like
head,
more action and less like thinking,
less
right?
thinking, right?
That's exactly what helped me. Uh-huh.
Right. Same thing. I did a Zoom call today because we did our LI Pigments Pro Team Zoom call, and one of the gals on there, she's been, you know, she's in South Africa, and she, hey Carly, well Carla, yeah, hey Carla, I want to say hi to her. But anyway, she's cute as a button. But she's been doing PMU for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so she asked me on the Zoom call today, like, you know, so when do you know you're ready to train? And she's been doing it 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, you know when you're ready when they start asking you.
Yeah, true.
And she's like, well, I don't feel ready. I said, well, you're never going to feel ready. We never feel ready to take our first client. We never feel ready
Mm-hmm.
to take our first student. You know, it's like we never feel ready. If we wait until we feel 100% ready,
It never happens.
it never happens. We're never going to
Mhm.
progress through our career and have accomplishments. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's what I said. I go, it's simple. It's like when they start asking. Because when people start, and that's kind of where you are at right now, people
Mhm.
are now asking you,
Mhm.
right, if you train.
Mhm.
And you do. So, you know,
Mhm.
you've started training. But I think if people are starting to ask you to train, then there's something about you and your work that is inspiring to them,
Mhm.
right? That they want a part of that. They want a piece of that. They want to learn from
Mhm.
you. So I think that's when you know when you're ready to train. Okay, so anxiety. Okay. So what was
Mhm.
number 2? What was your second big struggle?
The number 2 big struggle, I think it was for a while choosing the right color to have
The right
like
pigment?
the right pigment.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a while that was like I wouldn't have like very bad like results at the beginning, you know, with like real clients. But definitely like I was like, I don't know, I don't like how this is healing. Like
Yeah.
what should I be doing different?
Well, I think when you first
Mhm.
start, you think what it looks like in the bottle is what it's going to heal.
Exactly.
You just look, oh, looks really pretty. Yeah, it matches your hair. I'm going to use this. Right?
And then they come back and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, it comes back and it's like a completely different color. And you're like, that is not what I used.
Yeah.
And you're showing I remember showing the client, this is what I used. Look, I swear, this is what I use. I don't know where that color came from. But yeah, so everybody goes through that too. That's why every single artist out there needs a really good color theory class, which I happen to have with Beyond the Epidermis. But because I think a lot of trainers don't go over that, and the trainings are not nearly long enough to go over that in depth, because that's a complicated subject that takes a minute to fully learn and fully absorb and understand. Okay, but you're better now, picking out your pigments, picking out your colors. Yeah. Okay, so, and then number 3.
And then number 3, I think it is weird, but you know how we always keep saying like the 3-point stretching, right? When doing brows.
Yeah.
So it was like after my 5th or 7th client that I actually, like, with eyeliner, like, I started stretching, like, I really got in there and stretched the skin, and it, like, clicked. I was like, wow, like, this is how I should have been stretching. Like, I know I was doing the 3-point stretch, but it wasn't enough until that point.
Right.
So I was like, how, like, the pigment was getting the skin and everything. I was like, I should have been doing that, like, 5 clients ago.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but it takes it takes a minute. Like, your trainer can show you their stretch, right? Like, I show all our apprentices, and I showed Amber, anybody that's ever started at the Girlz Inc. studio as a newbie. I teach them my stretch, but that doesn't mean my stretch is the right stretch for them, or it's going to work for them. And that yesterday that happened, right? Like in real time, because Trish, our apprentice Trish.
Yeah.
So she's been apprenticing for, couple months, 3 months, practicing stretching. And she's practicing the way I stretch, the way Michonne stretches, the way she sees, you guys stretch. And so she gets on her very first eyebrow yesterday, and she's doing that 3-point stretch she sees all of us do. And her needle snagged a couple of 3 times. She's struggling. This, that, and the other. And and then all of a sudden she's just like, okay, can I stretch like this? And it was a 2-finger stretch. And I'm like, well, we're going to find out. Start tattoo. Let's see what happens. And she started tattooing, and it was nice and taut. And for the rest of the procedure, she did not get a snag. I mean, it was much more comfortable. And I'm like, girl, do you know what you just figured out on your very first model?
That's like huge.
You just figured out your stretch on your very first brow model, like 2 passes in, and that was kind of exciting for her. What a milestone to achieve.
Yeah.
Because you took your 5 clients, right? Yeah. And I don't remember how many clients it took me. I can't even recall, but I'm sure I struggled. We all struggle with stretch. We all struggle with everything, I think, starting out, right? We try to mimic our trainer.
Yes.
But that doesn't always work for us. And then we're left on our own to figure it out. Yeah. Figure it out on our own. So I think, so that's really interesting.